Hey, Dan here, and if you're a subscriber to my Life Design Approach emails or you caught my recent video on the Keystone habit, then you're really going to enjoy this one. A Keystone habit, like we talked about before, is a new habit that you can implement, which will then have all kinds of snowball effects in the rest of your life. So, for example, if someone starts running, they're likely to eat healthier, wake up earlier, drink less, all these sort of positive effects. So, what's a Keystone change? Well, Keystone habit is a term that's been dubbed by psychologists. Keystone change is something that was dubbed by me right now. But a keystone change is something that you can make one change, one choice in a matter of seconds, and it will have a long lasting impact on your life. I've been able to do some pretty cool things in my life in terms of living in different countries or starting my own business or this sort of stuff. And people often think it takes some kind of courage. Like, wow, that's really brave. You moved to Costa Rica when you had no money and, just had your business you'd started. That was really brave. It was brave for like 10 seconds while I'd had a bottle of wine. And what I mean by that is the only real brave part was when I booked the flight ticket to go down there. And that forced me to do it. I think we often get trapped in fear because we constantly and consistently think about the same decision. Like, should I quit my job? Should I not quit my job? Should I quit my job? And it's a decision process we go through for months. We're constantly debating this. And of course, no one has enough courage to be brave for like months at a time, right? Constantly like, oh, should I quit? Should I not? No. Most of us have a very brief window of courage or bravery. If you check out on my website, I have a section called The Rules, which is like my commandments or, thoughts on life or whatever. And one of them is this 20 seconds of courage from that movie, We Bought a Zoo, about having 20 seconds of courage and making big decisions that you cannot reverse in a very brief moment of courage, and that will set you on track. So that's what I mean by a keystone decision, a keystone choice or change, right? We can figure out the details of the name for this later. Here's some examples. Deciding to quit your job and taking an action that would force you to do it. When I wanted to quit working as a mortgage planner, I was like terrified of it, right? I didn't have any money. I was actually in debt. I felt like a loyalty to my boss. I wasn't sure my business would succeed. There was a lot of fear going on. But I knew like in the pit of my stomach I needed to quit. And I'm not someone who can like keep doing something I don't like for years. I can maybe last a couple months at most. But at the same time, I knew I wasn't ready, or at least I thought I wasn't ready to start my own business yet in terms of my income and such, or the money I had saved. And so what I decided to do was force myself to quit in the future. Because I knew that in this moment when I was, having these feelings that I was ready, mentally to quit. But 3 months from now, 4 months from now, I'm not going to have that same courage, right? If in February you have trouble imagining quitting your job in June, you're not going to suddenly get all this courage and be able to quit, right? The closer a tough decision gets to us, the harder it becomes to make, the more scary it becomes. So if you're scared to do something now, when it comes the moment to do it, you're not going to suddenly be like William Wallace and have all this bravery and make it happen, right? So what I did is I wrote a letter, and I'll link to an article I wrote where I actually include the letter and this whole process. What I did is I wrote a letter to 3 friends, and I included my boss's information and my deep desire to quit and a bunch of things in the letter that would ensure that he fired me if I didn't quit. I sent them my boss's personal phone number, mailing address, and all that, and said, hey, if I don't quit by this date, I think it was about 4 months out, if I do not quit, I want you to promise to mail this to my boss. Like, no matter what I say, if I come and beg you and say I've changed my mind, if I say I can't, I'm broke, whatever it is, ignore it and promise me you will send this letter. It's like, I might be insane or terrified in the future, but right now I'm sane, so promise me this. And all 3 agreed, but they didn't know about each other, so that way they wouldn't say, oh, I won't do it, someone else will do it. Each of them thought they were the only person getting this, request, right? What was really cool about this is the minute I sent that email to them, even before they responded to confirm they would do it, I felt like I had quit. All that anxiety in my stomach, gone. that like weight on my shoulders of like, oh God, I hate this job, whatever, gone. It was as if I'd quit. It's like I changed the timeline of the universe by sending that letter. So there was no way that I couldn't quit. And therefore, I didn't feel any of that stress or horrible aspect of my job. And also, the fear of quitting went away. It was just like relief. And I didn't have to quit right away. It was pretty amazing, right? That would be like a keystone change. And some other, so let's brainstorm together. Hey, you and me, mysterious stranger on YouTube, some other types of keystone changes you could make. One could be like announcing a business on like very publicly. So let's say you've been thinking about starting a freelancing career or starting your own business, and you're like, maybe, but I don't know. What are people going to think? Do like a big announcement of it. Tell everyone you're doing it. Make it so that if you don't do it, it's super embarrassing and everyone will think you're a total flake loser. Then you'll be forced to do it and you'll actually have some pressure. Pressure is good. Having like something forcing us to act is not a bad thing. So that would be like committing to starting a business with someone, right? Another thing you could do, little self-promotion here, totally, is attend a event that will have some kind of big change on your life. So it could be the upcoming event I have happening in Playa del Carmen, Mexico, Life Design Fiesta. It could be the event I have coming up in Prague in August. Or if you're watching this in like 2019, it could be insert event here. It could be any kind of event. It could be going to some Tony Robbins thing. It could be going to a conference. It, could be going to AA if you've got some stuff you need to deal with. But going to some kind of like big event where you're going to be locked in with people who will help you make a change. So, I was joking promoting, but actually promoting this event in Mexico, in that if you do come, there'll be 7 days, at least a minimum like of 7 days. You can stay longer if you want, where you're going to be with me. You're going to be with other like inspiring people, entrepreneurs. Like you'll be in an environment that will force you to make changes. So it's not something that, you can get out of with like just watching a YouTube video and then you're like watching the video and then you're like, all right, I'm going to go back to like doing whatever bad habits I have, right? You're in this environment where you're getting super intensive feedback and that's going to create more changes, right? So by making the one change or the one decision I almost like Keystone decision more than Keystone change, actually. It's, just while we're naming this together here, right? So making that one Keystone decision to attend this event will have all sorts of impact, because at that event, you'll meet cool people, you'll learn more, you'll maybe make some big life choices, you might change some habits or, start something new, learn some new strategies, whatever that happens to be, right? You could do the same thing with booking a vacation. Now, a vacation may not have the same life impact of like attending an awesome seminar or something. That's also in Mexico. Just saying, okay, I'll stop promoting. I'll stop, okay? But it might give you that break. Like, let's say you've been stuck in the grind or the rat race or whatever cliche term we want to use, or maybe you've been in like a bad relationship, but you're just so in it, you can't see it. Often taking a couple weeks, like buy a ticket, come to Europe, or if you're in Europe, buy a ticket, go to the USA or whatever. Getting out of your environment can often bring a lot of clarity. So making that one decision, like, hey, I'm going to take a vacation and just decompress and reflect on my life, that can end up having really all kinds of positive effects and change your outlook on life and philosophies and everything else. Other things you can do that I've done before. Prepay for a service up front. So let's say you really want to get in shape. Find a good personal trainer. Definitely make sure they're good before you do this. And then hire them for like 30 sessions in advance. And if you're a cheap bastard like I am, if you've prepaid for 30 sessions, you're probably going to use at least most of them. Maybe not all of them, but you're going to use enough of them because you've committed to this and made that one choice, right? Whereas if you're paying individually each session, then every time you think about going, you have that choice. Like, should I go? Should I not? Well, it costs money, and then you're debating it every time, right? So part of this Keystone decision thing is making one decision that forces future decisions. So you're doing something now in one moment that's going to have compounding effects and changes on everything else and sort of force your hand on other decisions. rather than trying to make all these little decisions every day, all the time, which is exhausting and leaves us really vulnerable for days when we're feeling, pessimistic or fearful or down on ourselves or whatever else. And we could probably come up with 100 Keystone decisions here, and I'd like your help in the comments to do that actually, whether it's something in your own life you want to do or just brainstorming with me about other Keystone decisions. The last one I'll add in is like ending a relationship, right? This can have a big impact on people because usually your relationship involves your social group, where you live, how you spend your time and all that. And so you might find that if you're in a bit of a toxic relationship now or something that at least isn't serving you, that ending that relationship can end up changing everything because you make different friends, you spend your time differently. Maybe you're with someone who's really like bringing you down in all kinds of ways. And just by ending that, suddenly you feel more confident, you feel freer to do more things, to pursue your dreams, and it can have all these positive impacts as well. That's it. I hope you've enjoyed this video and this new concept. I think it's a really valuable approach to life. It's something that without naming it, and as you can tell, I still haven't really perfected the name thing, but without naming it, I've been using this throughout my life with making big choices. And personally, I love it. Like if there's something scary you want to do, you just make one choice, commit to it, and then you don't have to worry about being scared because you can't turn back. I think in the personal development world, there's that saying like, burn your ships. Like there's no turning back. You're stuck on the island. You got to fight the natives kind of approach to things. So hope you've enjoyed this. Please subscribe to the channel. Well, not please. If you'd like to subscribe, I'm not going to beg you. I'm making good videos here. Subscribe to the channel and catch you in the next one soon. Ciao.